open basically, so that everyone knows you are there. क्या करूँ? इसका volume. Hello? Can I open it? Hi, good afternoon everyone. I hope the voice is clear.
Yes.
Okay. So this is for grammar sessions, and today I think we are going to go through verbs and tenses, particularly present tense. All right. So we are looking at verbs and tenses today, particularly present tense. So I guess you guys can see the screen clearly. The screen is
Yes,
clear.
ma'am.
Yes. A few
Yes.
yeses. Few more?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right. Sir is right here. It's not me. It's sir is right here. He's just bringing the text aligned onto the screen so that you guys are able to see it better.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Justice. I am an IELTS trainer from Cochin, and this session is for grammar. This will be happening every Monday and Friday, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. and we'll be covering topics which are specifically related to grammar, English grammar I would say, and we'll be doing a lot of exercises, and it's more of a interactive class. So anyone who is joining us from Facebook, welcome to the class. We also have students who have joined us on Google Meet, and they are the students who will be mostly answering or responding back to us. So people who are on Facebook might listen to the responses and learn from that. Okay, so without any further delay, let's go ahead and begin with today's topic. Now today we are going to discuss a very important topic in English, that's verbs. Okay, now there are many types of verbs. In fact, I would say there are 18 or more different combinations or different types. Okay, there are gerunds, there are participles, there are infinitives, many more. Okay, so we will be starting with the most basic type of verbs, and we will be moving on to the most advanced. All right, so let's begin. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see properly. Okay. So let's begin with a very basic definition of a verb. I'm sure most of us already know it, so I'll not be spending more time there. But what's a very basic definition of a verb? Anything that describes an action, we know it as a verb. Not only that, but anything that introduces the condition or state of something or someone is also called a verb. Okay, so of course we will look into many more examples and understand this. So look at this example here. Anna throws the ball. Here Anna is doing an action. This action is She throws the ball. And because it's throws, we can also understand that this is in the simple present tense. Now this much we have all learnt in our school, during our school days, okay, and I'm sure most of us do not remember these things or have been confused throughout our experiences in life and exposure to right and wrong English. We have, there might be confusions, so don't worry, we have a lot of exercises to clear those doubts and confusions and pull them out of you. Okay, so here throws is an action verb. Okay, it's showing an action. Look at the next sentence. Trent is very sick. Here the word is showing the condition of Trent. So this becomes a verb where it's letting us know the condition or state of someone. Who is this someone here? Trent. Okay. Now the first breakage that we understood here is verbs can be defined or divided into two basic or two groups. The first two groups that we see, or the first two parent groups that we see, is action verbs and condition verbs. Let's call them condition verbs. Okay, right now we will probably change this name later, but right now let's just call them action verbs and condition verbs. Okay, so now let's go deeper into action verbs. Okay, in the last class we were discussing about subject and object. We had discussed direct object and indirect object. I hope you guys remember that class, and if you're not, you can of course go back and view that particular class and understand what's a direct object, what's an indirect object, what's a subject, all those things. What's a predicate? Anyone would like to answer what's a predicate from here within the class? Anyone would like to answer what's a predicate?
The sentence that is other than subject.
Great. Anything other than the subject in a sentence, in a very basic form, we can call that as a predicate. Okay, great. So that's awesome. Now here we are talking about a direct object. So anyone would like to answer what's a direct object? Let's hear that as well. What's a direct object? Or what is an object? Let's begin with that. Let's do a small refresher on that. What is an object? Anyone would like to answer from the class?
Action which receives from the subject.
Something or somebody who receives the action from the subject. Okay.
Subject.
So what's the object here in this sentence? Anna throws the ball.
A ball.
Ball, right? Anna is the subject, Anna is the doer. The doer is called the subject. Okay. Throws is the verb, and the direct object here is, what did Anna throw? She threw a ball. So the ball becomes the object. Okay. Now here, do you see any other object? I don't see any other object, right? There is just one object, the ball. In many cases there are two objects, so we have to decide if it is a direct object or if it is an indirect object. So since Alfie is the one who is answering everything, let me ask Alfie again. Alfie,
Okay.
what's how do you understand, or what is the difference between a direct object and an indirect object?
Direct object which is somebody who receives the action.
Okay.
That is, we can say for whom or to whom.
Okay.
Will
So
be direct
for
object.
example, here in this example, Anna throws the ball, right? So
The
what
ball,
did Anna throw? If we
the
ask
ball.
ourselves this question, what did Anna threw? Anna threw the ball.
Ball.
Okay. Okay. Now, how do we identify an indirect object?
If something is there in the middle, that is for whom that ball is given or anything like that,
Okay, great.
or for what.
Great. What you're saying is correct. You have an understanding. That's what I can understand here. But for the good of everyone here, let me go back and show it to you, or make it clear for once and for all. Let's look into it once again. And okay, here goes. Okay, so look at these sentences. Joseph is a hard worker. Okay, Joseph is the subject. Okay, and we are talking about Joseph is. So we are talking about a condition that Joseph is in. Okay, or we are talking about a quality of Joseph. So Joseph is a hard worker. Okay, now let's look at this one. Third one. We gave Mrs. Jones some flowers. Okay, so what is the sentence? When you look at this sentence, the subject we can understand is we. We is the doer. We is doing something. What did we do? We gave something, right? We gave something to somebody, right? Now, what is it that was given? What is the thing that we here gave?
Flowers.
Flowers, right? And whom did we give it to?
Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones. Okay, so this what that is given by we, okay, the object that we gives, that is flower. That's the direct object. Okay, so if you ask yourself, if you see a sentence and you ask yourself, what is the action or what is the main condition? We gave. What is the what can you give? Can you give Mrs. Jones? No. The verb is associated with what? Flowers. You can only give flowers or anything else, chocolates or anything else, right? So whatever you're giving, that is whatever is associated with the verb, directly associated with the verb, that's called the direct object. Again, we is the subject, gave is the verb. Gave is the action of giving something, okay, and gave is more associated or directly linked with the word flower. You cannot give Mrs. Jones, right? There might be conditions where that happens, but not here. So we gave what? You have to ask yourself this question. We gave what? The answer to this question, we gave what? That is flowers. That's the direct object. So that's a very simple way of understanding what's a direct object and an indirect object in a sentence. We gave what? Flowers. So flowers becomes the direct object. We gave what to whom? We gave to whom? That becomes the indirect object. Okay. Okay. So I hope with this you know what's a direct object and indirect object. I think I have jogged your memories. So let me come back here. Okay. So we were talking about something that has a direct object. Okay. So remember we gave what? Flowers. Okay. So that flowers is the direct object there. Okay. So anything that has a direct object or any verb that describes or that talks about a direct object is called a transitive verb. Now, at a school level, we have all learnt these things, we have all memorized these names and all of it. But in school, it was more about, learning these names and learning their definitions, but not a practical application of it. So, here, even if you tomorrow, if you forget what is a transitive verb, the focus today should be on the usage of these verbs and applying them in your IELTS writing, grammar, and other particular elements. So keep that in your mind, that the focus is on usage, not on learning the definitions. Okay, so even if tomorrow you forget what is a transitive verb, don't worry. Today you're going to learn how to use it. Okay, so what is a transitive verb? Which can have a verb which is directly linked to a direct object. Okay, a verb or an action which is linked to a direct object. Okay, so let's look at few examples here and things will be much clear. So there is a list of transitive verbs that you see here: buy, carry, find, help, like, lose. So sorry. Okay, coming back. Yeah, back on the page. Okay, all these words that you see here, they're all transitive verbs. On the right, you can see the usage. He buys a newspaper. Here the verb is buys. Buys is the verb. What did he buy? That's the direct object, right? A newspaper. So the verb is directly linked with the object or the direct object. So this verb is called a transitive verb. That's all. I'm sure most of us know how to write sentences like this. That's not a big deal for any of us here. Okay, so let's look at a few more and we will move on to the next type. So I am carrying the child. I am carrying the child. Okay, so what is I carrying? The child. The child is the direct object. So if I ask myself this question, what is I carrying? I is carrying the child. The child is the direct object. So what does carrying become? A transitive verb in a different form, in a different tense. We will get to that later when we start discussing tenses. So most of us might already know that this is a continuous tense because we are using ing. Okay, but we'll talk about that later. Right now, as a word, as a base word, what is the usage? It is used as a transitive verb. Okay, and it's showing generally, what do we understand from this? We can understand that transitive verbs are generally verbs which show some kind of action. Some action is happening. Somebody is getting affected because of this action, or something changes because of this action, and all these verbs which describe this action are transitive verbs. Okay. Now, the next thing is intransitive verbs. So, transitive verbs had a direct object. Intransitive verbs, as logic states, will not have a direct object. Okay. Rather, an intransitive verb is something that shows what? A movement. Okay. Verbs which generally show any kind of movement to a place, or most of the times they might have a preposition or a prepositional phrase after them. They are called intransitive verbs, or that is how you will understand that a verb is used as a intransitive verb. Okay, so let's look at few examples, and examples will clear things for you. Okay, look at this verb crawl. Look at the sentence. The baby crawls on the floor. Okay. The subject here is the baby. The baby is the doer. What is it doing? It crawls. The baby crawls. Where? On the floor. Now on the floor, on, this word on, that's a preposition here. And on the floor is called a prepositional phrase. So this verb crawls, what is it showing us? Movement on the floor, right? The baby's movement on the floor. So anything that shows us movement, as I said right now, just 2 minutes back, is called a, anything that shows movement is called a intransitive verb. Look at few more examples. We are driving fast. We is the subject. Are is another type of verb, linking verb or helping verb. There are many words, many names for it. We will come to it. I think that's the next topic. So you can ignore this right now. Look at this driving. Again, driving is a verb, right? Fast. Look at one more. I flew. I flew here from Paris. From shows the preposition or position, from where it's began or from where it started, right? So again here from Paris becomes the prepositional phrase. So coming back to a definition, intransitive verb, what does it do? It shows a movement to a place, okay, and you might, most of the times you might see a preposition along with it or a prepositional phrase along with it. Okay. Possibly we'll look at one or two more examples. Okay. I am riding in his car. Riding is a verb here, and it's followed by in his car. In is the preposition here. In his car can be taken as a prepositional phrase here. So again, riding becomes a intransitive verb. Okay. Okay. Look at this one. The girls run past the school. Past the school. This is used as a prepositional phrase here. This is the verb. So this verb is just before a prepositional phrase. The verb is showing some kind of movement. So what kind of verb is it? Intransitive verb. We are sailing to Europe. Sailing, showing some kind of movement here. To Europe. To is the preposition. Or to Europe can be taken as a prepositional phrase here. So this word sailing here becomes a intransitive verb. So that's the second type of verb. Now let's look into one more. As I discussed here in this topic, we are driving fast. Here, what is this are? Okay, there are certain verbs like this which are used in the language, and they are called linking verbs, helping verbs. Many more names are there. Okay, it's up to you what or how you would like to call them. That's totally up to you. But here the point is to understand the usage. How are you going to use them? Okay. Okay. Now, what do these linking verbs do? They tell you the condition or state of someone or something. They tell you the condition or state of someone or something. We will look into it. You'll understand. If you've not understood, we will understand this by examples. Okay. Another thing that you need to understand is they do not have a direct object. Okay. So who has a direct object? We only understood that there is one transitive verb. The first verb that we discussed, only that had a direct object. In the intransitive verb, this one does not have a direct object, generally does not work with a direct object, or it shows a movement, right? Linking verb, the third type that we are now discussing, this one also does not have a direct object, but instead they are mostly followed by an adjective. Okay, so if you want to make a table for yourself, you can make it like that. Okay, so first transitive verb followed by direct object. Second, intransitive verb shows movement, comma, what else? Has a prepositional phrase along with it. On the table, in the car, to Europe, all those prepositional phrases are there. Okay, and now the third type, linking verb. Okay, linking verb, what does it do? Tells a condition or state of something. And generally, it is followed by an adjective. Okay. Okay. So let's look at few examples. Look at the first one, appear. And look at the example, the boy appears quite well. Here, we are talking about the condition of the boy. We are telling, or we are saying that the boy looks fine, the boy is doing good, he's not sick or anything, he's quite well. That's what we are emphasizing here. So, this emphasis is given by, or this is understood by this word. The boy appears, what? Appears is showing the condition of the boy. Appears what? Quite well. So here this word appears is used as what? As a linking verb. Okay. It's showing the condition of the boy. That's how you can understand this, and it's very simple to understand it like this. Okay. Look at the next sentence. I am hungry. Now, I have highlighted this word be. Okay. Be has a lot of words. Be is a family of words. Okay, and there are a lot of words within the be family. Now, most of the people do not understand this or do not know this at school during their school days, but you know, people who study English might come across this, and they might know this already. So some of you here might know this, some of you here might not know it, that be, the word be is a family of words. Okay, there are words within the family called am, is, is, are. All these words, am, is, are, were, was, all these words belong to the family be. They are showing an existence of something. Okay, so when you say I am hungry, am is the linking word here. Am is a part of the be family. Okay, be is showing condition. Be is showing that something exists in nature. Existing in nature is again existing in the world, or being there is a condition, right? So your current condition, I am hungry. This statement is saying that my current condition is that I'm hungry. So am here, or always I would say, is used here as a linking verb. And remember what I told you, am is a part of the be family, be family. Okay, the word be. So many more words are there in the be family. Is, are, was, all those words, as I already mentioned. Okay, we'll be going deeper into this understanding of this particular word and its family as we do exercises and as we proceed ahead. Okay, look at the next sentence. The weather becomes bad. Okay, becomes is the linking verb here. It's showing the condition of what? Weather. Bad is a very simple, I'm sure most of you would have understood with this example. What is bad here? Bad is a adjective. Okay, it feels hot. Feels is used here as a linking verb, showing the condition. Oh, it's very hot. It's showing the condition of the temperature or weather or climate, whatever you like to call it. Okay, the dog is growing weak. Here we are talking about the condition of the dog, and that is being shown by this linking verb is. Growing. Okay, so look at this one. The pizza smells good. Smells is telling us the condition of the pizza. Okay, now sometimes people get confused with linking verbs and transitive verbs. Transitive verbs is the first verb that we discussed, okay, that had a direct object, a verb that has a direct object. Okay, sometimes what happens is people get confused between a linking verb and a transitive verb, and this confusion ends up making in wrong sentences or wrong usage. Okay, so let's look at a linking verb and a transitive verb example, and let's clear this. So linking verb, his skin feels hot. Okay, hot is used here as an adjective. Feels is telling the condition of what? Skin, or his skin. Feels here is telling the condition of the skin or how the skin is feeling. Okay, and hot here is the adjective. So this falls in the definition of a linking verb. Okay, the word feels, the verb feels can be called a linking verb. Next, he feels a sharp pain. Okay, he feels what? A sharp pain. Now here again the word feels, the same verb feels is used, but here feels is also used here to show a condition, right? He feels what? A sharp pain. But do you see this, a sharp pain? This is not an adjective. This is rather a object. He feels what? A sharp pain. So this is an object. I'm not using an adjective to describe how he feels. I'm rather using an object here. This level of understanding is what is required to improve your English, or to make complex sentences or understand the complexity of the language. I would say this would be the first step towards that. Okay, so understand this. Feels in the first sentence is used with an adjective, the adjective that is hot, H-O-T. Feels is telling the condition of the skin. Okay, thus it is used here. It is understood that it is a linking verb. The next sentence, he feels a sharp pain. This particular sentence here, the word feels is not being used with an adjective, but rather it is being used as a with a direct object. The direct object here is a sharp pain. So here the word feels is used as a transitive verb. Look at the next example. The sky grows cloudy. Okay. Now, the verb here is grows. Cloudy, here is the adjective. So, the verb grows is used here with an adjective, and the verb grows is telling us what is the condition here of what? Of the sky. So, grows, this particular word here is used as a linking verb. Look at the next sentence. We grow vegetables. Okay. Here, nobody is talking about a condition, but rather we are talking about an action. What do we grow? We grow vegetables, not fruits, but vegetables. Okay. So, vegetables here is used as a object, direct object. Okay. So, grow here is used as a transitive verb. Look at this sentence. That smells beautiful. The verb is smells. This verb is used with an adjective, beautiful. Okay. So as we can understand, smells is showing a condition, right? So it can be said that it is a linking verb. Look at this sentence. She smells the flowers. The same verb, smells. The first sentence was showing a condition, that smells beautiful. Here, smells is used as an action. Okay, so imagine that in the first sentence, that smells beautiful. You're standing in a garden, and it's filled with flowers of different types, roses, orchids, and many others. Okay, and the garden is like smelling beautiful. To express that condition, you would say this sentence, that smells beautiful. Or somebody baked a cake and you can smell it, you get a whiff of it, and you're like, wow, that smells beautiful. Okay. Here, possibly in that garden, you went to a flower and you smelled that flower. This action is being described in the sentence here. She smells the flowers. Okay. Okay. So I hope that's clear. Moving on. My coffee tastes bitter. Bitter is the adjective that is being used here. Okay. Tastes. is the verb, but here it's not the action of tasting something, okay, but rather it's the condition of the coffee. Here tastes is used to show the condition of the coffee that you have. So my coffee tastes bitter. Next sentence, Risa tasted the ice cream. Here we are not talking about a condition, but we are talking about a action. Somebody did an action. Okay. So anything that describes an action is called a verb. We can also call it a, or what we have learnt till now is that we would break it down and we would rather call it a transitive verb. Okay, because they will mostly have what? A direct object with them. Anything that shows a condition, we will call them linking verbs. What do we find generally with them? We will always find, or most of the times we will find an adjective with them. Okay, many people would be here sitting down and listening to this class. Listening will not help you if you do not make notes of your own. Everything will be jumbled up by the end of the class, and things might not be that good for you. Possibly it might make things worse for you. But people who make notes and keep them as a reference, this class would be quite useful for them. Okay, now let's also discuss another way or another method to find out a linking verb. Okay, now as I said, these words, if you look at these words, am, the words am, is, are, A-M-I-S-A-R-E, these words, they are all from the be family. Okay, be, as I mentioned earlier, they are all from the be family. Okay. One very simple way of understanding or finding out a linking verb, or if you're getting confused between a linking verb and a transitive verb, a very simple way of understanding that is by looking at the sentence, okay, and changing that verb from the sentence into any one of these words. That is am, is, or are. Okay, any one of these three. So let's look at an example. It feels cold. Can I substitute with it am cold? No. It is cold? Yes, that makes sense. It is cold. That makes sense. That's the same meaning. It feels cold. So feels is what? A linking verb. Okay, this is how we check. This is how you can check it. Look at the next sentence. He feels her pulse. He feels her pulse. So he am her pulse. Can you say like that? No, you cannot substitute am here. Let's look at the next word. He is her pulse. Well, that makes sense, but that's not what is being that's not what is being said here. That changes the meaning. So is cannot be used. He are her pulse, does not even make sense. So I'm not able to use any of these three verbs. I'm not able to use any one of them. So what is this? Here this word feels is not showing a condition, is not a linking verb, but a transitive verb. That's how we check, or that's how you can do a self check and understand if something is a linking verb or a transitive verb. Let's do one more example. They smell nice. Can I substitute they is nice? No, they would be plural, so they are nice. Yes, they are nice makes perfect sense. So here smell is used as a linking verb. Look at the next one. We smell coffee. We am coffee. No, we cannot use this. We is coffee. No, we cannot use that. We are coffee. Of course, we can use it like that, but that does not make sense, and that's changing the meaning of the original sentence. So again, that cannot be substituted here. So this word smell here is used as a transitive verb, not a linking verb. So that's the difference between the three types of verbs that we have discussed: transitive verb, intransitive verb, and linking verb. So transitive verb, a quick recap: transitive verbs have a direct object. Okay, intransitive verbs, they would have not a direct object, but rather they would be showing some kind of a movement, and they have a prepositional phrase with them. Intransitive verbs will be showing some kind of movement, and they have a prepositional phrase with them. I am going to the market. Going here is the intransitive verb. To is the preposition. To the market can be called as a prepositional phrase. Okay. And the third type that we discussed is linking verb. He is hungry. She is beautiful. That is ugly. All these verbs, is, are, was, she smells good, he smells bad. All these verbs are used here to show some condition of the subject, and this is generally followed by an adjective. Not always, but generally followed by an adjective. Such words are linking words. So three types of verbs we understood right now. So let's do a small exercise and look at few sentences and understand or check our understanding. Okay, so there are a few words, a few sentences here. We need to figure out what type of sentences are these. Okay, so students who are joined in on Google Meet, who are in the class, who are not there on Facebook, but rather as a part of our class, students who are here can answer. Okay, so whenever you answer, unmute and put yourself on mute back again after you have given your answer. Okay, so the first sentence: Kristen asks a good question. So let's do our check. Transitive verb. Let's check for transitive verb. Is it a transitive verb? What is the verb here, guys and girls, gals? Ask. Okay,
Ask.
great. So that's a verb. And what is it showing? Is it showing you an action? Is it showing, does it have a direct object with it? What did Kristen ask? To find a direct object, what will you do? You will ask yourself this question: what did Kristen ask? A good
question.
Asked a good question. Okay, so you got your answer. So a good question here becomes the direct object, right? So any verb which is with a direct object is called a
Transitive verb.
So we can call this a transitive verb.
Yes.
Okay, next one. We went to Mexico. We went is the verb. To Mexico means prepositional phrase, right?
Intransitive verb.
So intransitive, correct. Good. So now you guys understand. Okay, look at the third one. Do you understand German? What is the verb here? Understand. Okay, and does it have an object? How do you find an object? What's the question?
German.
German is the object. Okay, so do you understand German? And what is it? What kind of sentence is, what kind of verb is being used here?
Transitive verb.
Transitive verb. Okay, so only if you have your notes you can look back. Okay, object is there. Okay, transitive. So possibly Alfie is doing that. Okay, so great. Next one, fourth one. It grows very dark.
Linking verb.
Linking verb.
Linking verb. It's showing a condition. It's showing the condition of it. Okay. Okay. Great. Emily appears healthy again.
Linking verb.
Linking verb. We had discussed appears as a example as well. So let's not ponder there much. Let's move on. Okay. Mother bought a new car.
Transitive verb.
Transitive verb.
Transitive verb. How did you understand? There is an object. What is the object?
New car.
New car. Very good. The cat jumps from the sofa to the chair. From.
Intransitive.
Yes. From. From. To. All these words are prepositions.
Position phrase.
Right? So great. So cat jumps is the verb. Cat jumps from A to B. So this is the prepositional phrase. Jumps is the verb. So any verb which is with a prepositional phrase, we can call it a intransitive verb.
Intransitive.
Okay. Do they want tickets for the movie? Number 8.
Transitive.
Very good. Who was this?
Soumya.
Great. That's a transitive verb. Do they want tickets for the movie? Here, many of you might have gotten confused with the word for. You might have thought, for the movie. Isn't that going to be a prepositional phrase? That's, I think, what many of you would have thought. But no, that's not the case here. The movie here is used as the object. Okay. And as the indirect object. Sorry, not the direct object, but the indirect object. Okay. What is it that these guys want? Do they want what? The movie or the ticket?
Tickets.
Tickets. So what is the direct object here?
Tickets.
Tickets. The movie is just an indirect object sitting there, and you are not supposed to be worried about it. Did I tell you anything about indirect object and going and checking for that? No. We were only concerned with direct objects, right? So this want here is for this. So tickets here is the direct object. So you can just simply look at this part of the sentence and understand that want is used as a transitive verb. Okay. Okay, next one. That's simple. 9th.
Linking.
Linking. Right. Okay. And the last one, number 10. Grandfather.
Transitive.
Grandfather grows corn and potatoes in his garden. Transitive verb. Good. So now that we know these 3 basic types of verbs, we can move ahead with the next topic. So the next topic that I would like to discuss is tenses. And let's start with the present tense. Okay. Now many of us know what is the present tense, what is the past tense, what is the future tense, right? I do not need to spend time on the simple definitions there, but rather let's look into the different let's say what can I say, the different types of present tense. Okay, that's where I think many people go wrong, or many people get confused. Okay. Okay. Now, look at this table. I've just highlighted the table. Okay. Okay. So we are focusing on the table. Look at this I. Okay. If you want to say something like I go, what will you use? I go. Simple as that, right? There's nothing, no complication there. Again, I see, I want, I can, I must. Very simple things. Similarly, you go, you see, you want, you can, you must. That's how you make sentences. You should go to the movie. You can see him today. You want a chocolate. You can work late. You must not be here. Things like that. Okay. Now look at the third person. So I hope all of us understand. I, first person. You, second person. He, she, it. Third person singular. Okay. Here you see some change. He, you cannot say go. He goes. He sees. He wants. But here there is no change. Can and must. So understand this. Generally this word can and must, they do not change their form. In most of the cases they will be just like that. In all of the cases they will be just in their base form. Can, must. There is no cans, C-A-N-S. That's not a verb, that's an object, or that's an object. Cans, tin cans, like that. Okay. So can will never have that S. The same is with must. Must will never have this S, no matter what person you are in. First person, second person, third person plural. However, can and must do not change. They're always like that in their base form. These other words that you see here, to go, to see, to want, these words change when they come to the third person singular, that is he, she, it. What changes? Sometimes there is a es that is added, sometimes there is a s that is added. Okay. So generally you will see an s is being added to these verbs. Okay. But when the verb ends with a vowel, that is go is ending with a vowel o, then that is when you use es, goes. Similarly, do becomes, what does do become? Do becomes does. Why? It's ending with the word o is a vowel here, so because of this vowel do will become does. Okay. But all the other verbs, see, okay, C is ending with the vowel E, so there is no point in putting EE again, there's no point in putting another E there. That does not make sense. So that's why you do not see it as ES, you simply see it as S. Want, it ends with a consonant sound, T. So there is no ES that's being put, there's a simple S, that's it. Okay. Okay. So something we learned from this table is that things, or this ending in this verb changes only when we are in the third person singular, and it changes like es or s. This change es happens whenever we have a vowel sound or vowel that's ending the verb, generally it's a vowel O. Okay, whenever you have a verb ending with O, that might change to OES, like that. Okay, so moving on. Let's do a small exercise. I rarely find a good book. Okay, now you have to change the person here. So I has been changed to you. So how can you say the sentence? You rarely find a good book, or you rarely finds a good book? Will you use a S here?
No.
No, right? Correct. You do not need to use a S here. Okay, look at this one. He rarely
Finds.
finds. So understood the table? Understood what we learned from the table?
Yes.
He, she, it. This ES, S is being added there in the third person. Okay, so let's quickly just finish this off. We often make mistakes. She often
Makes.
makes mistakes. Okay, they often make or makes?
Make.
Mistake. Okay, he goes home early. We
Go.
go
Go home early.
early. Look, guys, you do not have to apply all these calculations all the time. You do not have to think, okay, what was there in the table, and like that. Many of times we are naturally aligned with these elements because we have been using the language for so many years in our day-to-day life, or in our offices or schools. So many of these things would be very natural to us. So you do not have to check all the time if the formula is applying correctly, or if you're looking back into the table and trying to decide. You do not have to do that all the time. Okay, so let your natural self also speak. Okay, so let's do it fast. Okay, where were we? Which question were we on?
Third question.
Okay, great. I goes home or go home early?
I go home early.
Go. Okay, okay. It can help us.
They can help us.
He
He can help us.
can will not change, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. She
Does the dishes.
okay does the dishes. Okay. You
Do the dishes.
okay, great. So I'm moving on. I'm not spending much time here. Okay. Moving on to the next two particular verbs, that is have and yes. I was talking about the B family, BE. Here are a few words from the family. Okay. Okay. So let's look at these two verbs. Okay, have and be. Okay. Okay. Have, I have, you have. He has, she has, it has. Okay, I'm sure most of us know this difference. So we have, they have. So have does not change. It's only in the third person. Again, it's the third person when things are changing, right? What are we observing here? That generally things are not changing when it is in the first person, second person, or even in the third person plural. Things do not change. But when we talk about third person singular, he, she, it, when these words are used, there is generally a change in the verb. So be careful whenever you're writing these sentences. Most of us naturally know it, but for the others who are new to English, please understand this. Okay. Okay. The verb be, the verb be. Okay, this verb, again, as I said, is a family of different verbs. It has the verb am, are, is. All these words belong in this family. Okay, so whenever you're using I, what are you using with it? I am. You will never say I is, I are. No, I am. I'm sure most of us already know this. So again, moving on. You. You. You are. Will you ever have you is? You is a bad person. Will you say like that? No. That's a very wrong English, right? So, all these other, that is you, we, they, all of them, they are using what? Are, A-R-E, right? Again, the difference or the change is happening only when we go to the third person singular. He is, she is, it is. So what did we understand from these two tables? That things change when we talk about the third person singular. Otherwise, things are more or less the same. The only exception that we saw is I. I am. That's it. I am, then can, must. Such words also do not change ever. Okay, so have a general understanding of these words that will be helpful for you to frame simple and as well as, at a later point, complex sentences. Okay, so these pronouns are given here. Okay, they have no money. She
Has no money.
we
Have no money.
Have no money.
okay, great. I am at home now. This one.
They are at home now.
They are at home now.
Good. She
Is at home now.
very good. Look at the sixth one. She is quite well.
I am quite well.
He
He is quite well.
great. Okay, so that's quite a simple game here. Okay, let's look at this next exercise. So there are two options given here. You have to tell me which one is the most correct. Okay, they have no time today. They goes. Okay, that's simple. Which one is it?
Have.
Have. Okay. Okay. My aunt lives.
You
Okay.
know.
So these are very simple exercises. I would like to move on and take you guys to a more complicated exercise. So I'm just skipping few sentences here and there. Okay, let's look at the eighth one. He
Has a new job.
okay. Ninth.
Likes.
He likes
Likes. Okay, great. Okay, so most of you understand these things. Okay, now of course, such verbs are definitely a part of a sentence, and verbs are also used whenever you're building up questions or creating questions, okay, or framing questions. But the point here is that this class is particularly for anyone who is planning to give the IELTS exam, and this grammar class will be focusing more into IELTS based grammar, where you have to understand complex sentences, where you have to write different types of sentences. For example, you should know what is a cleft sentence. Okay, you should know participial sentences. These are a bit advanced types of sentences which are used in grammar. Some of you might already be using those sentences or would already be writing like that. Something like a very simple example I'll give you, something called an inversion. Okay, that's like, not only is this helpful for our development, but it will take us to new heights. Okay, here the usage of not only and but also, that is used in the form of an inversion. So many of you might know how to write this sentence and might be using these sentences, but there are different forms of such complex grammatical structures which we need to learn, or which we will be learning as we proceed ahead with this grammar class. Okay, now there are certain words, gerunds are there, participle, many things are there. So the point here is that since this class is for IELTS, I am not going to concentrate on asking questions, or I will not be devoting much time on questions, because ideally in IELTS writing you're not supposed to ask questions. Okay, you're not supposed to ask rhetorical questions. Of course you can frame it up in a very different way, and put it up as a doubt or as something that you would like to, not as a question as such, but in a very different way. Okay, but again that requires a good level of a good skill in writing. So again, coming back to the point here that I will not be concentrating much on asking questions or teaching you on how to frame questions. For that, possibly we can have some other grammar class on that. But this grammar class, since it's for IELTS, and IELTS does not have a requirement as such for asking questions, I will not be concentrating much on questions here. So I'm skipping this part and I'm moving on. So here this exercise is about changing sentences into questions. I'm not going to waste your time on this. Let that be on some other occasion. Okay. Okay. Now negation is something that is of course required. Okay, negation is nothing but just the ability to put not and knowing where to put this not. Okay, so I am not, you are not, she is not, and so on. Okay, here the word not is making or is negating something, or is putting a negative element here. Okay, so look at few sentences. I'm sure again this is something that most of us already know. I like hot milk. Okay, now if you want to change this, you cannot say I like not hot milk. No, that does not make sense, right? So we all know how to write this correctly. That is, I do not like hot milk. What did we add? Do not. Okay, look at the sentence. Danielle goes to the window. Danielle does not go to the window. We find the money. We do not find the money. So what are we using? Do not. And look here, does not. Do not and does not. So of course this is not something that needs a lot of time to be spent on teaching, but rather let's just do a simple exercise and move on with this. Okay, negate each sentence by adding not. Okay, so you can sometimes you might have to use just not, sometimes you might have to use do not or does not, so use it accordingly. Dolores is in the capital. How will you change this?
Is not. Dolores is not in the capital.
Is not in the capital. Okay, great. Okay, so let's look at the fourth one. The books are on the table. The books are
Not on the table.
not on the table. Okay. Okay. I go home late.
I do not
Do
know.
not go home late.
Correct. I do not go home late. I am an American.
I am not an American.
Great. Okay. So we know how to negate. Okay. Let me see if there is something. Look at this eighth one. Okay. Tell me the negation for this. We do our homework.
We do not do our homework.
Very good. Okay. So we do not do our homework. So you have not changed the tense or anything, and that's the perfect correction there. Okay. Lisa likes my cousin.
Lisa does not like
Does not like
My cousin. Okay. People who are there on this and who yeah, thank you. the point was just to put yourself on mute because it brings in a lot of disturbance uh, in the background. Okay. So again, this exercise is about you know, negative questions or does she not like him questions. Okay, so again, I'm not discussing questions because that's not something that you guys require. So let's move on to the 3 types of present tense. Okay. Okay, so look at these words. I sing, we go, he has, she is, they want, Tony finds. All these words are in the present, and they are telling us that in our school days, okay, let me rephrase myself. In our school days, we have been taught that this is simple present. Okay, but what is a simple present? What does it show you? A simple present shows a habit or something that happens frequently. Okay, so here this word I sing, it might show my habit or it might show something that I might do frequently. We go, he has, she is, they want, Tony finds. All these, of course, there has to be a subject, there has to be an object or a combination of objects along with them to make sense. But right now, try and understand that simple present that you learnt in your school days, okay, that you learnt as school grammar. In intermediate or let's say in advanced grammar, we would not call it simple present, we would rather call it a habitual tense or habitual present tense. Okay, we'll come back to this and we'll be taking or we'll be looking into this on a much larger scale, much profoundly we will discuss this, but right now understand it like this. Okay, and all these words, you know, generally have an ending with s or es, which we had already discussed. Okay, or they might just not have any ending at all, they might just be in their bare form, go, sing, like that. Okay, so anything that happens as a habit or that happens frequently enough is put in the present simple tense that you know of. Okay, you have been taught it as present simple tense. What is simple tense? Something that happens in the as regularly or something that happens as a habit. Okay, okay. Now then comes the next tense that you guys would have learned in school is called continuous tense. Okay, continuous tense, you would be using it with a verb with this particular suffix, that is ing. The words will be ending with ing, like speaking, speak, ing, speaking, learning, singing, like that. Okay, now what is a continuous tense, or we call it as in progress? So that makes more sense. Rather than saying it as continuous tense, we can call it in progress. Okay, a tense which is in progress. So that's happening right now. Okay, so an action is in progress, and in most of the cases this action is not completed, it's still going on, it's incomplete. That's called this continuous tense that you understand from your school days. Okay, try and learn it as in progress, tense that is in progress. Okay, so when you go to Canada or when you go to UK or these places, when you immigrate there, you know, possibly people would be using these words. They might not be using simple present, they might call it as habitual present or a habitual statement. Okay, they might call it as an in progress statement, they might not call it continuous tense. Okay, so we are I think in Southeast Asia it is being taught like this, but rest of the world calls it with different names. Okay, okay, so let's look at the third one. Okay, the third one is called a emphatic form or an emphatic tense. Okay, now what is emphatic? Look at this. Okay, somebody asks you, do you know English? Will you say I know English, or will you say I do know English? Which is much better? I would say I do know English. Yes, because we want to emphasize it there, right? In Malayalam they call it eduthu paraya. In Hindi they call it utha ke bolna, jor laga ke bolna. Now Hindi and Malayalam are the two languages that I know other than English. So okay, so okay. So somebody asks you, do you know English? Rather than just saying yes, you can say, of course I do know English, possibly better than you. Okay, so responses like that, which are emphasizing or which are opposite to what is being asked and which emphasize on something, are called emphatic responses, or the third type of tense, that is the emphatic tense. Okay, okay. Another example you can see here is, somebody says you do not have the book, so you will respond, you will not say I have the book. No, I have the book is a habitual tense. Is something that is frequently there. Here you have to emphasize right now, as an opposite of what you are asking me, I do have the book. You're emphasizing on that. Okay, so that is being shown here by this word, I do have the book. Okay, all right, so let's look at these examples. Okay, and I hope with these examples things might be much more clear. Okay, habitual statement, that is something done frequently. I speak English. It does not mean right now you are speaking English or today you spoke English. Some people teach simple present like that. Something that happened today, you can call it simple present. No, my dear, that's wrong. That's utterly wrong. Okay, simple present is something that happens as a habit frequently. So it's not today that you started your experiments with the language English. You've been doing it for many years. It's a frequent action, it's a habit. So I speak English. Okay, look at the next sentence, we go to school. Here again we are talking about a habit. We are not talking about today that we went to school and that's why we are calling simple present. No, that's a habit. We go to school. It happens frequently. They play soccer. It's not saying that right now they are playing soccer, but it's saying that it happens on a very frequent scale. They play soccer. It's a habit. Okay, so that's what you should understand by your simple present. I'm sure many of you, this would be a revelation for many of you on how and what is a simple present. A simple present is habit, something that is done habitually or something that repeats again and again throughout time or space. Okay, okay, let's look at few examples of in progress or continuous tense. That's how we have been taught in school. We will call it now in progress, or okay, you can call it anything but understand this is how most of the world would know it. Okay, so let's look at this. I am speaking English. So that's emphasizing right now, at this particular moment, I am speaking English. It's not telling me that I do it as a habit. It's not disclosing that information. For that I have to write I speak English. Okay, that's this sentence here. But if I want to emphasize right now I am speaking English, I would say I am speaking English. This ing will come, ing will come there, will be added there. Okay. Look at this. We are going to school. So when will you say this? A bunch of children going, carrying their school bag, and they're walking on the pavement and along the road. They're walking along the road, along the pavement, and you come across them, or a stranger comes across and asks them, where are you going? So how will the children respond? We are going to school. They're talking about an action that's happening right now. Okay. They're not talking about a habit. They're not talking about every day they go to school. Not something that's happening frequently. Right? They are emphasizing on something that's happening right now. So third one, they are playing soccer. Again, the same example, the same kind of example or explanation would be here. They are right now playing soccer. The game is going on right now. Okay, that's in progress. Third one, the emphatic one. Let's look at few examples here. Somebody asks you, you do not speak English. What will be your response? I do speak English. So what are you doing here? You're emphasizing. And how are you emphasizing? With the word do. So that's your keyword here. Whenever you see this word do not, it would be a emphatic response. Okay, and generally you should know how to use them. Sorry. Okay, generally a person should know how to use them in language. All right, so look at these examples as well. We go to school. That would change into we do go to school, or we do not go to school. However, if you use the word do, it means that you are emphasizing on it. Okay. Somebody says they do not play soccer. So what would the children say? Not the children, another group says they do play soccer. Okay. So these are examples of emphatic responses. So let's look at the exercise. Okay, I have also seen, before I go to the exercise, I would like to also talk about certain adverbs. Okay, like these. Many a times I've seen people misuse these words. Okay, look at this sentence here. I often listen to jazz. Okay, whenever you use such adverbs to emphasize, here often means what? Regularly, right? Many a times in a day, or in a span of time, I do it many times, often. Okay, the frequency is high. The frequency of doing something, or the number of times you are doing something, is high when you say often. Okay, so to emphasize this, okay, that this action is being done frequently, to emphasize this fact, we have used the word often here. Okay, many a times I've seen people write it as I often listens to jazz. No, that will be wrong. Okay, I often listening to jazz, or something even more drastic, that is I often do listen to jazz. No, the correct form will be, if you're using an adverb to show something that is done frequently, write the sentence in the simple present form that you know, or as I've taught you right now, the habitual present form. I often listen to jazz. Not listening, not do listen, nothing else. I often listen to jazz. Okay. Look at this one. Here the word sometimes is used. Okay. Possibly you can say it's opposite of often, right? We sometimes talk on the phone. Not talks, not talking, not do talk. Simple talk on the phone. Travis usually works until 5. The third one. Travis usually works. What is Travis used here? Can you substitute a pronoun here? I would like somebody to substitute a pronoun. What pronoun will you use here?
She.
He or she. Okay. I believe Travis is a male name, is a name for a boy or a man. So I think we can put he. So what will change here? Work will become works, right? He, she, it. The table. We had done a table where we had seen he, she, it. Things change. Do become does. Go become goes. Want become wants. So work will become works. So Travis is nothing but that he. We can change this Travis into he, right? So understand it like this. Travis usually works until 5. So even this sentence is in the habitual present or simple present tense. So the rule is not broken here. The rule remains that whenever you are using such words, write it in the simple present. Okay. So let's do an exercise here. Okay, so what we need to do is, the sentences are all in incomplete tense, or as you would understand it as continuous tense. Okay, you have to change it into habitual or simple present. Okay, continuous to simple or incomplete to habitual. However you understand it, you have to change it like that. Okay, and you have to also use this adverb. Okay, you have to also use this adverb here. So keep an eye on these sentences that I just discussed here. I'll highlight it so it can help you. So look at the first one. We are driving to New York. We
always drive to New York.
We always drive to New York. Okay, I hope now everyone would be able to participate. Okay, so she is speaking quickly.
She sometimes speaks quickly.
Speak or speaks?
Speaks.
Correct, with the S, right? Because she is in the third person singular. He, she, it. Those guys, right? From the table. Okay, I am working in the garden. This is simple.
I often work in the garden.
Very good. Okay, the boys are playing tennis. Let me bring it to the top. Okay, here. The boys are playing tennis.
The boys frequently plays tennis.
Plays are.
No, play.
Play.
Tennis.
The boys frequently play tennis. Good. Okay, great. The women are traveling abroad. Where will you put every year?
After abroad.
The woman. Okay, you can do it like that. Can you put
Or
it?
for every year.
Yes.
Travel.
Like that also you can use it. Okay, both ways you can use it. Every year the women travel abroad. R will be removed, traveling will be removed. Rather you will just say every year the women travel abroad, or you can also say it as the women travel abroad every year. Okay. Doug is buying German beer. Doug
Dog usually buys
Buy
German beer.
German beer.
buys, B-U-Y-S, buys
Yes.
German beer. Okay. Okay. Michelle is talking on the phone.
Michelle always talks on the phone.
Very good. Michelle always talks on the phone. So now that correction is automatically, setting in. It's setting in our minds. Good. My brother is sleeping in the living room. My brother,
Sometimes
Sleeps in the living
in the
room.
living room.
correct. Okay. There are many other ways of using this sometimes here. Okay. So my brother sometimes sleeps in the living room. Okay. They are cooking a roast.
They
They
usually cook.
usually cook a roast.
A roast. Okay. Very good. So uh, okay, look at the 10th one. His sister helps them every day.
Okay.
Okay. His sister helps them every day. Okay, like that you can say it. And okay, so look at this exercise. Here we are going to talk about this exercise is about emphatic response. Okay, the ones with do, does, those words. Okay, so look at the sentence. He does not speak English. They have changed it into he does speak English. So that's a very simple exercise. Let's quickly go ahead and finish this off. She does not understand the problem. She does.
He does understand the problem.
Okay,
The problem.
look at the third one. I do not like that dress.
I do like
I
that
like
dress.
that.
Okay, good. Okay, look at this one. Make this into emphatic. Will you use, first doubt is, will you use do or does? Okay. Here Mac is what? He, she or it? Or is it I? Is it you? What can you substitute Mac?
He.
He. Okay.
He
He
does
does.
want to
Want.
wants to sell the old
Why
car.
wants?
No, want only
Want?
is does. Okay.
He does want to.
Sell the old car.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So instead of he, can we put Mac now? We can say Mac. You cannot just say he, right? You have to change that into Mac. Mac does.
Does want to sell the old car.
Okay. Now put does not. Can we put does not? We have to change it, right? The
Yes.
exercise was about changing it. Right. So Mac does not want to sell the old car. Okay. Okay, look at this one. Mr. Tyner writes him a long letter.
Mr. Tyner does not write him a long letter.
Very good. Okay. So the boys do not work in this factory.
The boys do work in this factory.
Okay, great. So we have done this exercise on simple on in fact all three types of present tense, that is what you know it as simple present. Understand that's something that happens in habitually or that repeats itself frequently. Okay, that's simple present. Continuous present is an action that's happening right now. It's not completed yet. It's still going on. Okay, we would call it in progress. Okay, and the third one is somewhere where you have to emphasize and say that yeah, I do I do know it or I do it. So you will use the word do, does, and those words. Okay, you might or as well use it with a negation, that is do not or does not. So these are the three types of present tense. There is another type of present tense, that is perfect tense. Okay, we will be discussing that later once we have discussed all the tenses, that is present, past, and future. Okay, so if I start with the past tense, that is the next one, I don't think we would be able to cover it up. It's 3:15. Let's see. Okay, let's see up until 3:30. Okay. So again, the story remains the same here in past tense. The three types of tenses will be habitual, in progress, and emphatic. Okay, just as you saw it in present tense, the same three types of tenses will be here in the past tense. Okay, but in the present tense, generally we ended the word with an s or es. Right now in the past, you will see that words are ending with ed. Okay, sometimes you will see words are ending with y. Words which end with y, they are changed into this one. Okay, let's look at this example. That example will make things clear. Okay, so borrow will become borrowed, call will become called. Okay, so what are we doing? We are just adding this ed. That's all we are doing here. Okay, now look at these words: bury, carry, hurry, rally. All these words are ending with the word y. Okay, even though it's ending with the word y, the sound is I. It's a vowel sound. Okay, and because of the complications, now that becomes that becomes a totally different subject altogether, and I can talk another hour about it, but that's going against the purpose of this class. So just understand, any verb as such which ends with y, whenever you change that into past, it will be IED that you will be replacing this y with. Okay, this y will be changed into IED. Remember this y. It's not the y sound as such, but I, that sound. That's why we are changing it like this. Okay, just remember it like that. Okay, so that's the another way of showing something is in the past. Okay, the third type, words like this: bed. Okay, words which have a single consonant sound. Bed. Can you break this word bed? Bird? No, that does not make sense. Bed. It's a single sound, right? Pin, rot, sin. Such words will repeat this last word that they have. So bed will become BEDD, double D, bedded. Pin will become double N. Rot, T, double T. Sin, double N. If you remember these three, you will not go wrong with your spellings when you are writing past tense, and I don't think this would be a concern with many of us, but I have seen BURRED as in for buried, BURIED. So again, those are errors which will be taken as spelling errors in IELTS and will mark you down. So it's important to know these things. Okay, and I'm sure most of you would already know them. Okay, now when we talk about past tense, there are some things called as irregular verbs. Okay, the word will change completely. So win, win, you will not say wind, winned. Win will become won, won. That's the past form of win. The word changed here. We did not add anything at the end of it, but rather what happened? The word in itself changed. Such verbs which change themselves are called irregular verbs. Okay, there is a list of these verbs, irregular verbs. Once you have a look at them, you will be able to understand them in a much deeper perspective. Okay, okay, so look at this, a small list of such irregular verbs. Okay, the verb be, when you talk about it in the past, was, be will become was. That's singular. I was, plural, we were. Break will become broke. Bring will become brought. So do you see the word in itself is changing? Did we add a ed after bring ed? No, we have never seen such a word, right? So bring will become brought. Okay, so such irregular changes in the verb are called such words are called irregular verbs. This is the list of it. I'm not going to go through the whole of it. Of course, you guys can take a picture here, and there are many more words. This is not a complete list also, let me say that also. Okay, so let's look at the few last ones. Teach becomes taught. Throw will become threw. Write will become wrote. Okay, so these are called irregular verbs which do not use these ed, or they will not have the y, or they will not have a consonant which is repeated, and with that you have like this. They will not follow this convention, but rather they change themselves into something else. Okay, okay, now there are certain verbs which might not change at all. Okay, look at this one. Put, the present and the past of put is put. There is no putted, there is no putty why form. Okay, there is no such forms. Put remains as put. Okay, hit, hit, no change. Okay, cut, no change. Okay, so these are called irregular verbs. Okay, okay, now let's look at the three types. In the present tense, we wrote it as I speak English. That was telling us that I speak English frequently, or that's a habit, or that's something that happens in my life, or that's a part of my life. Okay, but when you say I spoke English, this means now this is not a part of my life. I had it, or I was using it frequently in the past. I spoke English. This means I spoke English in the past. Now this past can be many years back. This past can be a moment back. Now that's up to you how you use it. So past becomes a little bit complicated here on where you stand, or how long back was it. Look at this sentence. We go to school became we went to school. We go to school became we went to school. Okay. Again, went is showing that this is in the past. Okay, and this is something that happens as a habit or happens frequently. Okay. They play soccer became they played soccer. An action that happens frequently but possibly in the past. It can be the near past or it can be a very distant past. For that you need more information. But right now what we know, they played soccer. It was something that they usually used to do, and right now it's not being done. So that's why it said they played soccer. Okay. Moving on to the in progress tense. Now here things will change. Okay. Quite a bit. So in the present tense, the sentence was I am speaking English. Okay. That am changed into I was speaking English. That am changed to was in the past. We were going to school. The next example. In the present tense, we are going to school. That was it. In the present tense. But in the past, it became we were going to school. Okay. Third one. We are playing soccer. That was a present tense. We were playing soccer. So I hope this is not something very complicated. This is not rocket science here. Okay, something very simple that we have learned from our school days. Okay, so again, not spending more time on this. Moving on to the third one, emphatic response. In the present tense, we were using do and does. Do and does. But in the past tense, we will be only using did. Okay, do will become do, does will become did. Okay, I did speak English. I do speak English became I did speak English. Okay, we do not go to school become we did not go to school. What was there in the present tense, we do not go to school, present tense, that becomes we did not go to school. So a very slight change occurs in the sentence when we change something from a present tense into a past tense. Okay, and we also learned that in past tense there are some verbs which might change their spelling completely, or they might be written in a very different format. Those verbs are called irregular verbs. And other than that, we understood that there's a verb, a normal verb, an infinitive verb can be changed, or infinitive, what I mean here is a verb in its let's say in its base form, okay, can be changed into its past form by using an ed or ied, or repeat the last word and then ed. Let me show you that, these three. Okay, so that's what we learned about past tense. Let's look at an exercise and finish this off quickly. So next class, that is Monday, we will start with future tense. Okay, so let's finish this exercise and we will close for today with this. Susan helps her friend. Susan helped her friend. Okay,
Help.
so now that's very simple. Let's move on. Fourth one, my father is in the kitchen. My father,
Was in the kitchen.
okay, very simple. Okay, good. The girls are riding on a horse. The girls,
Were riding.
Riding on a horse.
the girls were riding on a horse. Okay, someone has my wallet. Someone
Had my wallet.
had my wallet. Okay, good. You often make mistakes.
You often made mistakes.
You often made mistakes. Okay, good. And let's move on to the next exercise. Here, change the habitual past to to a past tense action in progress. Okay, so this is both the sentences that you see here, they are in the past tense, but their tense is changed. The first one is habitual past, that is what you call it as simple past. Okay, the second one is the in progress or continuous. Okay, so that's what we have to do. We have to change the simple past into continuous. He wrote a letter will be changed into
Right.
He was writing a letter.
he was writing a letter. Now how will you change it into present continuous? Present continuous. Past continuous is he was writing a letter. Present.
He is writing
Very good.
a letter.
Okay, so let me also mention these things here. Okay, let me. He was writing a letter. With this, we have made this continuous writing, or we will call it in progress. Okay, and it is in the past. Past has been shown by was. This word was, was, right? To change it into simple into present, what can we do? We'll change this was into is. He is writing a letter. So what is this? Is, was, showing past, present, that. What is this ing showing? That if it continuous,
Continuous.
simple, that is habitual or emphatic. Okay, those elements are being shown here with this ing. Okay, so that's how you can understand it also. Okay, let's move on. Third one, Jim stood next to Alicia.
Jim stand
Jim
next to
was
Alicia.
standing
Jim
next to Alicia.
He stand
Was
next to
standing.
Alicia.
was standing. Okay, Jim and change it into okay, yeah, Jim was standing next to Alicia, and Jim is standing next to Alicia. Okay, past and present. Okay, the man brought us some fish. This one, the man brought us some fish.
The man bring
Use was.
was
The man was doing something, right?
Bring us some fish.
Bring us some fish.
Bringing, you have to change it into continuous, right?
Ah, yes.
In progress, right? So the man was bringing us some fish. Okay, okay, okay. So next one, we lost the game.
We were losing the game.
Losing.
Losing.
Okay, so we were losing the game. Okay, okay. Why did we use were? Because we have used we, right? So that's in plural. So we were, not we was, we were. Okay, we were. Lost will become losing the game. Okay, the boys hurried home. The boys, any change here? No change, right? It will remain like this. Now you have to put it in the past. You have to put it in past continuous. So what will you use?
The boys were hurrying.
Hurrying, you cannot just put hurrying just like that, na? Every time we are putting something before that. Concentrate. What are we putting before it? Every time we are putting something before it.
The boys were.
Were, yes. Were alingla, we are using was. The boys were alingla. If it is singular, the boy was. So can you just put ing just like that in past tense? No. Every time you will have something before that. What is that? Was, were. Right? Even in the present tense, he singing. Will you say like that? No. He,
He's.
Were
present. He
is singing.
is singing. So why are we removing that is? Is what becomes was, right?
Yes.
Why are we removing that in past? We should not, right? It should be there. So the boys, now was
Were.
cannot be used because it is plural. So we will use the boys were hurrying
Home.
home. Okay. The dog buried a bone in the yard. So imagine the dog is doing it, was doing it, and you saw it
Wow.
happening. The dog was
Burying a bone in the yard.
burying a bone in the yard. Okay. Next one. I had a bad day. What will come after I?
Was.
Was. Had will become. Is there a word called hadding?
No.
No. So what will it change to? Having.
Having a bad day.
I was having a bad day. So what is this one more thing that we realized here? Look at this. I was having a bad day. Okay, let me 1 second, give me a moment, let me take up this. Okay, and okay, so the sentence here is I had a bad day. Okay, this will change into I was having a bad day. How are we showing that it is in the past? We use this word was, right? Here, when we used it in the present tense, did we use is? Did we write it like this? I is had a bad day? No. There is no usage of this is, right? You simply wrote it as I had in the past tense, okay? Simple past. I had a bad day. But here, when we change it into continuous, this had did not become a word like this. There is nothing like this, right? So what you have to do with this had is in the past. You have to change it into have. And now this have has to be changed into having. And this having is what will be used in your sentence. Understood what happened? This I had a bad day was in the past. Okay? Simple past or habitual past. This had was changed into present or its base form. What is the base form of had? Have. It originated from the word have, right? So after we have converted it into the base form, you add the ing. So have became having. Okay, now having, you would say, sir, this is in the present form, but I have to write a sentence in the past form. So can I write like this, I having a bad day? No, I have to denote something here to show that this was in the past. So what did I put? I was having a bad day. So how is the process? This had, which was in the past, you will see what is the base word for it. The base word for it is have. You will put a ing with it, having. The problem here is you guys are trying to change this into hadding or something. That's where you are getting confused. You're simply thinking that I have to put a ing there. No, ing cannot be just put just like that, right? With any word. It has to come in its base form first. Okay. So had became have we changed it into having, and now having is not in the past, does not show that it's in the past. So to show that it's in the past, the sentence is in the past, we used I was having a bad day. Okay. Okay, let's look at the next one. They went to the store. Okay, now here what is the verb went? Okay, what is the base form of went? Went is an irregular verb. What is the base form? Go.
Go.
What will go become in continuous?
Going.
Going, right? So now form
They
the
were
sentence.
going to the store. Were going.
They, can I just put they going to the store? No, I have to put past here, right? So what will you use? They were going
Going.
to the store. That's how we do it. He stayed with an uncle. Now stay, what is the verb?
Staying. He was staying with an uncle.
Okay, so stay is the verb. Stay changed into staying. Now staying, okay, has to have this was before it to show that it is in the past. In the present also we are using staying, right? He is staying with an uncle. So staying is not showing that it is in the past or it is in the present or nothing like that. What is showing past or present? This was here. Were. These are the elements which is showing that it is in the past. This is just simply showing that it is continuous. That's all. So that's why we call it past continuous or past in progress. Okay, so he was staying with an uncle. Okay. Now here they're asking us to change the sentence into a question. I'm going to skip this exercise because we do not worry about questions. Okay. Okay, so I think that's about the exercise. I think we have looked into all these. Okay, so we have done all the exercises here, and just a quick recap, what all did we discuss today? We discussed verbs, we discussed 3 types of verbs: intransitive verbs, transitive verbs. Let's do it in the order. We discussed verbs. First one was transitive, then we started with intransitive, and then we talked about linking verbs, or you can call it as helping verbs, or okay. 3 types of verbs we discussed. Then we looked into tenses, we looked into present, and we looked into 3 types of present tense, that is habitual, that is what you call simple present, in progress, and emphatic. Similarly, we looked into past. While we were learning past, we also understood that there are some things called irregular verbs, and we also looked into the three types of past, that is again habitual past, in progress past, and emphatic past. Okay, this is all that we learnt today, and I think it's over the time that I usually take. So these classes happen every Monday and Friday. My name is Justice. I hope you guys would be able to understand these particular elements that we have discussed here. If you have any doubts, you can put a comment on the page, and I would be happy to answer it and clear your doubts. So thank you everyone. Thank you for being a part of today's class. We'll have it. The next class will be on Monday, same time, 1:30 to 3:30 Indian Standard Time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alfie.
Thank you.